Maybe in the last minute of your life, you want to be something more than a goddamn savage! Annunziare mentatio. Ego sono homo automatus. Like this. Oh, like being food for the immortal.
What is happening, savages? You are listening to Immortal Coil, your future minister of whiskey mysticism. Revolution is my name. It is Wednesday, the 10th of November, 2021. Fuck this band. 7:01 p.m. on the West Coast, Seattle. And it is time, my friends, to get savage. What the fuck is happening, people? God damn, I am pissed off today and ready to rant. Lots of things happening this motherfucking news cycle. Before we get too far into it, though, I'd like to ask you to raise whatever it is you're imbibing and join me in the savage salute. Here's to us. What's like us? Not a goddamn thing. That is what the rebellion tastes like. The American Revolution is said to have been ran on rifles and whiskey. I believe that. Not quite ready to advocate just all of that just yet. However, I do understand the sentiment. Lots of things happening in the fucking news world, and I find it strange how it seems to always go down towards the middle of the week. You know, I spend all week just kind of like thumbing through my recommended news items, and then they show up with some fluffy pieces and like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm into astrophysics. I'm into particle physics. That's really cool. I'm into ancient history. They'll dig up a city. They'll dig up statues. That's pretty cool. I'm into dinosaurs and fucking fossils and unicellular life. They'll discover something about that, and that's pretty cool. But then I swear to fucking flying spaghetti, I swear that Monday, Tuesday come around, and that's when all the shit starts going down. It's like, what the fucking hell? What the fucking fuck? What in the actual fuck? One might ask. One might ask. We got a couple of savages joining us today. I did get some love from the Sporking News podcast, The Dump, as it were, another fine rogue entertainment channel for your consumption and or evaluation. Scott's a good friend of mine, so if you came over saying hi from Scott, tell him I said hi back. Make sure you hit that thumbs up and share this humble broadcast, as I am a humble savage. Not trying to copy Ethan Van Sciver too much, but we have a saying around here: when the truth, when the spin becomes real, the truth, my friends, becomes savage. I want to say hail to the random Brad, my faithful savage, the thunder from down under. You have to invert your inverted crucifix if you're standing on the side of the globe to comprehend the machinations of the random Brad creator, giving us Sextuple. Raging Horns. Love that. We got Darius Munchausen. What is happening, sir? I do believe I haven't seen you around here before. If you are a migrant from the Sporkin' New podcast, welcome. Welcome all. And of course, we have our faithful savage, Taylor M., who joined us last week in our salute and or decapitation of Han Solo, a travesty, which you can catch on the repeat. I do want to kind of sort through these kind of what I like to call the fluffy news pieces. There are some things that did happen that do deserve merit. But there are some major fucking things going down in Newsland. So let's get to it, shall we? First off, we got some rather sad news. Deadline. Whenever I go to Deadline, you know what that means, people. That means another actor has sadly passed away. This one is Dean Stockwell. Dean Stockwell, formerly of Quantum Leap. That's how I knew him. And then, of course, he was in the original Dune, the one that had John Luke in it. Dean Stockwell died at 85. Sad. When I was a child, my mother said to me, no, it's actually like this. When I was a young boy, sitting on my daddy's knee, he said, son, don't let the man get you. Do what he done to me. We ain't talking about the bayou. We're talking about life lessons, people. And I was talking about this with my good friend Snowdub, how there is a need for a man class. Masculinity is under attack. And as the old guard dies off, we are going to have fewer and fewer examples of what exactly a man is supposed to look like, how he is supposed to behave, how he attracts his preferred mate, how he comports himself in the universe. Dean Stockwell dies. Quantum Leap star, Oscar and Emmy nominee was 85 by Nelly Andreeva, November 8th, 2021. This was a couple days ago. Former Quantum Leap star Dean Stockwell, an Oscar and Emmy nominated actor whose stage, film, and TV careers spanned more than 70 years and 200 credits, has died. He was 85. The actor died peacefully in the early morning of November the 7th at home of natural causes, a rep for the family confirmed to Deadline. Stockwell was born March 5, 1936 in North Hollywood. By the time he was 7, he was on Broadway, launching a career as a child actor. He appeared in Anchors Away with Frank Sinatra and Gene Kelly, Kim with Errol Flynn, Gentleman's Agreement, which landed him a Golden Globe Award, and most notably, in the controversial 1948 movie, The Boy with Green Hair. It was controversial back then. Yes, people. That's way before Twitter, before people with green hair popped up on your timeline and caused trouble. Yes, Taylor M. Rip Dean Stockwell. Yes, Brandon Brad, rest in power. Yes, sir. His mansion in Valhalla is assured, if for nothing more than what he helped bring forth through Quantum Leap. And we'll get to that. I just want to finish his obit. As a young adult in 1957, Stockwell returned to the Broadway stage in Compulsion with Roddy McDowall, who became a lifelong friend. Stockwell reprised his role in the 1959 film version and won his first of 2 Best Actor awards at the Cannes Film Festival. Stockwell also starred in Sons and Lovers and Long Day's Journey into the Night with Katharine Hepburn, which delivered him his second Best Actor prize at Cannes. Stockwell was on the verge of a career change as he got a real estate license and packed up the family and to leave Hollywood. He did not go to Beverly Hills. He did not shoot at food, and he did not hit any crude. No. That was a different franchise. He left Hollywood when he received a phone call from Harry Dean Stanton, who convinced him to join him on the set of Wim Wenders' 1984 film, Paris, Texas. And that led to a string of memorable film roles in Blue Velvet, Dune, its successor movie, the ever popular reboot. Dune is on your streaming service as we speak. Married to the Mob, which earned Stockwell an Academy Award nomination for supporting actor, The Rainmaker, and The Player. Play on, player. It was in television where Stockwell delivered one of his signature performances on the quirky 1989 and 93 sci-fi TV series Quantum fucking Leap. My childhood, people. He played Admiral Al Calavici opposite Scott Bakula, receiving 4 Emmy nominations and a Golden Globe Award for his role. Stockwell's series credits also include 2000's Battlestar Galactica, Jag, and from Quantum Leap creator Don Belisario, The Tony Danza Show, and NCIS New Orleans, among others. Stockwell also starred in a popular 61 episode of The Twilight Zone called A Quality of Mercy, in which he plays a double role of American and Japanese lieutenants on either side pending massacres. The episode also featured a pre-Star Trek Leonard Nimoy. He also guested on such popular series as Bonanza, Wagon Train, Dr. Kildare, the FBI Mission Impossible, Night Gallery, Columbo Police Story, Heart to Heart, The A-Team, Miami Vice, Murder, She Wrote. Impressive. In recent years, Stockwell, who retired from acting in 2015, did pursue a career change, making art and exhibiting, gotta learn how to read, around the U.S. under his full name, Robert Dean Stockwell. Those close to Stockwell describe him as a rebel. I like him better already. Who loved to act, to laugh, smoke cigars, and play golf. Man after my heart. He is survived by his wife, Joy Stockwell, and their 2 children, Austin Stockwell and Sophie Stockwell. Hollywood remembers Dean Stockwell. Go fucking take a look at his fine career. I do want to focus on his Quantum Leap career. Quantum Leap was one of those shows that was just kind of on, and I'm flipping around, and this is during like 1989 to 1993. So what the fuck else was on TV? That was like the Wonder Years, Perfect Strangers, Larry and Balky, and Star Trek: The Next Generation. There was an interesting era for sci-fi. And I would say that Quantum Leap was one of the early vanguard of that era of TV. But basically, the premise is Scott Bakula is an explorer of alternate multi-universe. The fucking MCU. That's kind of what their bag is these days. But Quantum Leap was doing that stuff back in the late 80s. Scott Bakula would leap from reality to reality, but he would not leap into his own concurrent experience. He was leaping, his essence was leaping into the bodies of people who occupied these different universes. So essentially, he was like the ghost steering the meat skeleton in whatever reality he ended up finding himself in. Admiral Al, he was like the only guy who could interact with Scott Bakula's character from the reality that he was from. And he had this little weird gizmo that made cartoon noises whenever he was trying to figure out what was going on in that particular reality, because the key to leaping was to fix a reality breaking problem in the identity that Scott Bakula had jumped into. It was a great show, and I really enjoyed it, so much so that Scott Bakula was the Quantum Leap guy in my head in perpetuity. And that's why it was very confusing for me whenever Star Trek Enterprise, never mind that terrible theme song, wound up being Captain Archer. And that's the beginning of Star Trek's decline writing wise, as far as I was concerned. Still nothing as horrendous as what we were visited on by J.J. Abrams, but this was definitely a step down on quality from classic Star Trek Enterprise. So uh, here, my friends, is to Dean Stockwell. May you rest in peace. I know your mansion at Valhalla is going to be the place to party, one amongst many, when we get to the afterworld. Salute. Here's to you, Dean Stockwell. Yeah, it's quite crazy. Death is an inevitable part to life. I'm not so concerned with the death of the body as I am an immortal. If this body wears out, I'll go find another one. It's not that big a deal. We know that motherfucker will be living on. The chat. Random Brad, he says, yep, cool guy. Great in Battlestar Galactica as well. Just finished watching the Blu-ray box set again. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Yeah. It's funny. There was a lot of classic TV shows like that ended up having new life. Battlestar Galactica is one of those. And geez, like, can't we all just agree that Katie Sackhoff, Jesus Christ, that's all I gotta say. Taylor M, rest in peace, rest in power. Really love that Quantum Leap. Yes, TV's prime years indeed, my savages. Yeah. So it's an interesting phenomenon. Okay, it seems that no matter how hard things flop and fall and flail and struggle and gasp and die, there always seems to be some sort of like, let's go out and do damage control. Let's these numbers aren't looking too good there, Bob. Let's get out there and see what we can do as far as on the back end, because we know this fucker is going to be a disaster for us and everybody associated. All my friends, my loved ones, my closest companions and associates. This is going on the permanent record. The permanent record. The one that we're scared of in junior high. The one that follows us to our first job interview. And squarely makes HR say no because we were late to home ec that one time for that bullshit reason. This is as silly as it gets, people. This is Looper trying to get me to go to Best Buy. I might actually have to go to Best Buy. I am considering, Savages, getting a 1080 i camera for when I do my reactions to things. For when I decide to show my ugly face, you guys can see all my scars and pockmarks in stunning HD quality. Looper, the Eternals character you are, based on your zodiac sign. This is some Jack Kirby art. It's supposed to be Salma, right? That's who this is supposed to be. Except Jack Kirby didn't draw Salma in that role, did he? Perhaps one of many reasons why your movie is failing, Marvel. This is by Bob Clow. Sounds like a Klingon. Rob Clow. Kapla. I hope you guys saw that YouTube short. I might end up having to play it later. Astrology might not be recognized as a science, Rob Clow says, as it once was centuries ago, but its continuing popularity points to how concisely and cleverly it creates personality profiles. Astrology posits that the position of the stars at the time of one's birth has a profound, permanent impact on your life, how you view the world, and how you interact with others. While it is sufficiently vague at times that trying to draw predictions from it isn't always fruitful, the zodiac has proven to be a powerful tool for self-evaluation and introspection at the very least. Stop seeing these ads by Google. Why? Because I'm not interested. We'll try not to show that ad again. Thank you. I thank you to take care to not do that to me and to our savages who are just trying to listen, whether live or on the replay. In Marvel Comics, and now in their own film, the Eternals are an offshoot of humanity that was directly influenced by forces from beyond the stars. The so-called space gods, known as the Celestials, visited Earth millennia ago and did genetic experiments on one of humanity's evolutionary ancestors. The Eternals were the results of one of those experiments. They're practically immortal. I know the feeling. They're almost immortal, but they're not quite immortal. Extremely difficult to kill and possessed of remarkable powers. However, like their human cousins, every Eternal has their own quirks and individual personality traits. Like some of them like to do butt stuff. Some of them like to scissor, and some of them just don't give a shit. Some are leaders, some are thinkers, and some of them love to party. The same is true for their other evolutionary cousins, the Deviants. All Trump voters, the Deviants were cursed with genetic instability, smarmy, shitty, deplorable Deviants dared to defy the Celestial millennia ago and paid the price. With the Eternals entering into the MCU, there's no time like the present to get familiar with the strange alien team. Let's take a look at what the Eternal or Deviant you are most like based on their adventures in comics determined by your own zodiac sign. Now, I'm not going to read all 12 of these fucking signs because I know you don't care. I barely care. Only enough to tell you that I am an Aries Taurus cusp. So should I feel the need to go into horoscopy? It's like a colonoscopy, but horoscopy. I tend to look at both and see which one feels right for that day, because it really changes sometimes. Aries is a bold Gilgamesh. Yes, Gilgamesh was a white-suited, Bane-looking motherfucker in the original Jack Kirby character design. I don't know how he became an Asian-looking motherfucker who's supposed to be from the Fertile Crescent, but that is Marvel Studios for you. The MCU. The MCU. Punishing some fucking Thor right there. Thram. The fist said to Thor's leotard. For those born under the sign of Aries, you are most like the eternal Gilgamesh. This fire sign is sometimes known as the warrior, just like Gilgamesh, the leader and fighter who has had many names throughout his life. Unlike most Eternals who tended to keep themselves, unless they were fighting deviants, Gilgamesh freely mixed with humans, killing monsters and ruling kingdoms. He was the Gilgamesh of legend, the monster-slaying Mesopotamian king of Uruk, king of Uruk, who would later be the subject of Jean-Luc Picard's attempt to fucking make peace with those aliens. What were they called? The Temerians? The Telarians? Something like that. The ones that spoke through metaphor. Told the myth of Gilgamesh. He was sometimes mistaken for Hercules and even performed a few of the Greek demigods' famous labors. Somewhere along the way, Gilgamesh had forgotten that he was an Eternal, but that didn't stop him from being a strong but sometimes headstrong leader, boldly taking on new challenges like an Aries do. Gilgamesh was eventually reminded of his heritage, and the leader of the Eternals, the great Zuras, confined him in Olympia, where he became forgotten. When the Deviants attacked The fourth celestial host, the eternal sprite, freed the now forgotten one and sent him off into space. Space. Never one to back down from a challenge, Gilgamesh destroyed a bomb the deviant sent into space, and was taken in by the celestials themselves. He delivered a stern message of non-interference to the Eternals and Thor, and his fiery temper led him to fight with the Thunder God. Aries are stubborn, and once they are convinced they are correct, it is hard to convince them otherwise. And Taurus being the sensation, seeking sprite. This does not look like a Taurus to me. This looks like, I don't know. This looks like Jimmy Olsen, who hangs around with Superbuy's dad at the paper. If you were born between April 20th and May 20th, that makes you an Earth sign, Taurus. It also makes you the eternal name Sprite. Despite being extremely old, and the fuck is he wearing? Is that like Keebler Elf? Remember that little fucking Brussels sprout guy that hung around the Jolly Green Giant? That's Sprite. That's Sprite for you. Despite being extremely old, Sprite was designed by the Celestials to appear perpetually like a child. As a result, the stubborn Sprite could never be dissuaded from constantly pulling pranks on Eternals and humans alike. He, and later she, of course that's important to Marvel these days, later she, in a later resurrection, was also the inspiration for tricksters like Puck and the boy who never grew up in Peter Pan. He also is wearing the Grinch's costume, isn't he? However, being fully mature but living in a child's body wore on Sprite, who wanted the experience everything an adult experienced. Taurus is sometimes known as the sensualist, loving earthly pleasures. I suppose we do. Sprite was also desperate to experience these pleasures that he tapped into the power of the dreaming celestial, a godlike being imprisoned underground by his fellow celestials for daring to defy them. Sprite used that power to make all of the Eternals on Earth forget who they were and give them human identities. Sprite himself gave up his immortality in order to become human, although he also turned himself into a child star with a TV show called That's So Sprite. It took him decades to enact his plan, befitting a Taurus who moves slowly but resolutely. Of course, Sprite made himself a star because he wanted to enjoy a luxury lifestyle as a human teenager, once again making perfect sense for the sign that loves creature comforts. You can read the rest of this bullshit article at your leisure at looper.com if you dare to go where angels fear to tread. Taylor M pointing out that MCU doesn't use Jack Kirby material. Well, at least in live action. No, they will use his characters in design, but they won't use his ideas. Wasn't Jack Kirby one of those white guys? One of those white guys? Yeah. It's hard being a white guy these days. Can't do shit. Get blamed for everything. All right. I was looking through the news, and I saw some headline article that said Bill Murray is in the new Ghostbusters, the final trailer. And I was like, okay, I'm down to see some Bill Murray. So I am going to go ahead and start my camera. And we're going to do a reaction to the Ghostbusters, the final trailer. Ecto 1. Ant-Man. Biblical. That was probably Bill Murray. Oh, shit. Oh. Wow. Wow. Okay. 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 I am pretty happy with that. There was callbacks aplenty, which assures me that Ghostbusters Afterlife is not going to shit all over their audience, unlike other film franchises. There was a couple of things in here that I saw that I wanted to uh, spend some time on. So right away, the biblical imagery. Paul Rudd talking about the sixth and seventh seals. That's all from Revelation. Some of those things being uh, harbingers of the apocalypse. It looks like he has hooked a trap up to his car battery to see what the fuck is in there. Maybe that's what lets out ghosts. I don't know. It's a good theory. Okay, then they talked a little bit more. They got the Ecto. They busted out Ecto 1. And then we saw the Hellhounds, the Hounds of Zool. The shit that looks like kind of like Close Encounters, huh? It's a little bit like that. Is that Mount Shasta? Could be. But it's also very much like what we saw on the first Ghostbusters at the Empire State Building. Okay. Now I wonder. She's on the phone, and I'm thinking that's Bill Murray's voice. So I'm thinking the news articles that I was reading. Taylor N says Dan answers the call. Okay. Okay. Eyeball Monster Dude is cool. Yeah, it's not Dan. It's probably he's crank calling drunk 3PO or something, right? Okay, these little guys, the Stay Puft Marshmallow fun-sized little fuckers, these guys. I don't know how many of you guys watch Doctor Who. There were these little like lipid fat little monsters that kind of looked like this. I know that that's probably not what they're going for, but that's kind of the role that they're playing because these cute little marshmallow guys, that's merchandising right there. Those are the porgs of Ghostbusters Afterlife, although I do believe that these will be slightly more successful than porgs. I hope so. And I mean, like there was a scene right here where this guy gets like fuckered up in the blender because these guys are just dumb. And it's like if this writer was writing The Last Jedi and had porgs, I know Chewbacca would just because that's what we want to see. We want to see cute little things violently murdered. I see the kids trying to figure it out. And then here's like another callback. You saw the dead rising in Ghostbusters, the first one. I'm very impressed. They're figuring out their shit. Oh, my grandpa was this and that, so I got to figure out how this shit works. There's I think that's one of the Hellhounds materializing. And then Slimer spits bullets now, I guess. Yeah, that's one of those things. I thought I saw one more thing. Nope, that's it. That is it. So I really enjoyed that trailer. I am going to go see this movie, and I think I'm going to be happy about it, which I guess I kind of needed this the fluffy shit to prepare me for what's to come. Yeah. Lots of bullshit. Lots of bullshit. So in the spirit of bullshit, we're going to go to Twitter. Our favorite bullshit archivery. This is me. I'm Immortal Coil. You can find me on Twitter at immortal_coil. You can tell it's me because of my stylized logo. You can see the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull, and you can find my description. One of God's own prototypes, a high-powered mutant of some kind, never even considered for mass production. Too weird to live, too rare to die. A quote from Hunter S. Thompson. If you don't know who Hunter S. Thompson is, unfuck yourself. We will wait. And then going through my feed, I noticed an interesting happening from my brother Snowdub. Snowdub Music and Entertainment, home of the Cotton Connection. He's a good dude. He likes puppets. Jim Henson changed Snowdub's life as much as Dr. Dre did. And what in the name of Jim Henson and Frank Oz is actually going fucking on? What is going on? It appears that the government, your government, is using the Muppets to mule this vaccine. Now I need to do this. Drunk 3PO did this to some success. So I want to say that COVID-19, as reported by the government, is a serious pandemic in need of serious address. And you should not take medical advice from a YouTube channel, nor a guy with a crystal skull as a logo. These are my opinions. They are not medically researched or verified by any recognized authority. Please consult a doctor before altering your healthcare program. Having said that, the federal government is using your Muppets to hawk this vaccine. Snowdub did a fine a video about this. That's his wheelhouse. It's like a 45-minute extravaganza where he just tears this fucking thing to shreds. What I am going to share with you, though, is basically the gist of what he was getting to. Now, he did not use this exact article, but this is where you can get a synopsis of what happened. CNN deploys Sesame Street Muppets to promote vaccines to children. Here are two Sesame Street people CNN people joined by Big Bird. This is from CNN. It does not give the author's name, so this is just by CNN. CNN has stirred controversy and has been accused of pushing propaganda by critics for once again deploying the Sesame Street puppets to promote COVID-19 vaccines, this time to children. On Saturday, CNN aired The ABCs of COVID Vaccines, a CNN Sesame Street town hall for families, hosted by Dr. Sanjay Gupta and Erica Hill, in which numerous recognizable children's characters like Elmo and Big Bird recommended children get their COVID-19 jabs now that the Federal Drug Administration, the FDA, has approved the Pfizer vaccine for children 5 to 11. Pissing off the chat right away, Taylor M chiming in with politics should get involved with Sesame Street and the Muppets. I think he's saying should not get involved unless he was being ironic. Random Brad coming back with a big fuck on that shit. That is wrong. Yeah. Puppet lives do matter. Yes. Snowdub did a brilliant video on this, although you do have to fast forward through about 20 minutes of it because Snowdub wants you to get him up to 1,700 subscribers. 17K, 1.7K subscribers, although 17,000 subscribers would be good for him too. Here's a tweet from Disclosed TV, new Sesame Street with American TV Network. CNN telling kids to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Sesame Street's Rosita gets her first COVID-19 dose. This is one of those weirdo monsters that I don't remember from a kid, so I think that this is CNN trying to be diverse. Is this you being diverse, CNN? Let's hear what she has to say.
Noemita, this is from my COVID vaccine. My mommy and my papi took me to get it this morning.
Oh, Rosita, that's great. Getting the COVID vaccine is a great way to stay healthy.
See, my mommy and my papi said that it will help keep me, my friends, my neighbors, my abuela, all healthy.
Your parents are absolutely right. You know, COVID vaccines are now available for children 5 years and older. And the more people who get them, the better we're going to be able to help stop the spread of COVID and keep everyone healthy.
Man, that is the creepiest fucking smile. That is the creepiest fucking smile. One of the Muppets named Rosita. And I guess Latin people are green now. The Latin X people. Is that what happens when you put an X in front of Latins? They turn green. That wasn't Kermit the Frog. That was Rosita. She said she got the vaccine because it will keep me, my friends, my neighbors, my abuela all healthy. With vaccines, the Muppets exclaim, kids can do things they couldn't during the pandemic, like have play dates. You can date your playmates, your friends. Gupta mentions to the Muppets that children as young as 5 can receive the vaccine, and the more people that get jabbed, the better we're doing, the better we're going to be able to stop the spread of COVID and keep everyone healthy. With his enormous chin. Big Bird at one point says that he is scared of needles, and Gupta and Hill recommend bringing a toy from home or singing to yourself if you're scared of getting injected. Here's Big Bird on Twitter. Big Bird on Twitter saying, I got the COVID-19 vaccine today. My wing is feeling a little sore, but it'll give my body an extra protective boost that keeps me and others healthy. Miss Aunt Erica R. Hill even said I've been getting vaccines since I was a little bird. I had no idea. I wonder if they're going to mention the reply. The reply to Big Bird has been going around. I'm going to see if it'll pop up on my... Yeah, okay, I got to share this other thing. Okay. I got Big Bird's tweet. Is that it? Nope, that's me. Just kidding. Gonna get Big Bird's tweet going on this. I need to hire a geek to do this shit for me. Here we go. Big Bird on Twitter. And look who fucking replied to Big Bird. It's Sleepy Joe. What do you have to say, Sleepy Joe? He says, good on you, Big Bird. Getting vaccinated is the best way to keep your whole neighborhood safe. Fucking Big Bird. Fucking Big Bird. The president talks to Big Bird on Twitter. The president talks to Big Bird on Twitter, which is very strange. Big Bird on Twitter is a strange way to promote the COVID-19 vaccine courtesy of Pfizer for your children, because children, as far as I know, aren't allowed on Twitter, nor should they be. Twitter is a very fucked up place, and kids have no business going on Twitter. No business at all. And then I could understand why President Biden would follow Big Bird. But again, he's going on to say getting vaccinated is the best way to keep Sesame Street safe. And Brad says it's really fucking sickening. Absolutely. And Taylor M hates that they're doing that to children. And then Ask Clown Joe, yeah. Let's go, Brandon, is all I really have to say about that. But back to the article. CNN has received backlash in the past from critics over making the Muppets part-time contributors, and the new town hall on Saturday was no different, with Twitter users accusing the network of promoting propaganda made more offensive by its targeting of children. The Savage Show concurs. Hodlo not. Geez, I almost insulted that. Remember Admiral Holdo? Yeah, I'm sorry, Hodlo not. You are not a terrible Star Wars character. You actually are a outer space cat with laser eyes. I have no words for how disgusting this propaganda directed at kids is. The PO'd Scotsman. The indoctrination is real. Yes, sir, I too am Scottish. Dave Nestor. The Amish were right. I'll say it again. The Amish were right. And what don't Amish people do? The town hall marks the 6th time CNN has used the Sesame Street Muppets for a town hall concerning the coronavirus. The coronavirus. It's fucking silly. It is fucking silly. But propaganda is actually the connecting thematic thread here on the Savage Show. We're finding that they're using our pop culture, our icons of the people we look up to, whether we're children or adults, in order to disseminate good for you messages from your big brother, from your moral authority, from anyone outside of your own heart and conscious mind. These people trying to invade your thinking, to change how you feel about yourself and how to make you more concerned about what other people think about you than what you think about yourself, which is the definition of a lemming, I believe. If you looked up lemming in the dictionary, that is what you will see. I need a fucking drink after that. I need a fucking drink. I might need to get started on a new one for this this next piece. The very thing, my savage friends, that inspired tonight's thumbnail. This is another thing that I sought fit to share on the twat knuckle. This thing from Team YouTube. Now, if you are joining me tonight, you are joining me through the YouTube platform. That is no surprise. YouTube is changing up a very fundamental part of the YouTube experience. Now, most of the time I like to go into these things more or less fresh. I like to look into these things and give my honest, genuine reaction. But this thing blew up so big because it's so close to the very heart of what we are driving at as a member of the Fandom Menace or Comicsgate or whatever iteration of this clap back that we are hoping to communicate to you guys. And YouTube is saying one thing, but they are doing it very much in the spirit of something quite different. Team YouTube tweeting, to reduce targeted dislike attacks and their impact on creators, especially on smaller creators, you'll no longer see a public dislike count on YouTube. Starting today, the dislike button is staying. This comes after lots of research, testing, and consideration, and then it gives a URL, which we are going to get into. Absolutely. Turning my sarcasmotron up to 11, leading me to tweet out, looks like ratio statistics are going by the wayside. This is a huge win for transparency. And instead of my familiar skull, I'm doing this like sideways, rolling my eyes, motherfucker, because this is exactly the opposite of that. And then we have this schlock ass motherfucker trying to tell us some things. Now, I do want to go into his video.
Hey, folks.
And we will do a proper reaction to this, Matt Koval. I do need to make sure that this is being shared properly. Geeks be damned. Update on YouTube's dislike content dislike button. The what the fuck? Yes, what the fuck is indeed correct, Random Brad. Matter of fact, that's probably why everybody and their sister is on YouTube sounding off about this thing, because this schlock ass slick looking motherfucker with a play button hat and a button up tee, he's going to try to give us the pep talk, and like I really want you guys to pay attention to his body language. There is a science called neuro-linguistic programming. And just like it says, it uses words to get you to associate things, sometimes without your even knowing that is going on. And what they do is use a repetition of sounds. They use gestures. When somebody's actually physically present with you, they can use physical touch to anchor these things into your subconscious. And if you know it for what it is, then it can't get you. But so many people are walking around zombie-like that they don't even know this shit is going on. So let's listen to this fellow, shall we?
Hey, folks, you may have seen a while back that YouTube announced it was experimenting with making dislike counts private to only the creator of the video.
Okay, right away, he's going out of his way to sound friendly. He wants to approach you, and it's kind of like, hey, can I talk to you for a few minutes? Yeah, just for a few minutes. I won't take up too much of your time, but, you know, almost like a dick pill ad, huh?
Now, if you're like me, you were surprised by that.
If you were like me, you were surprised by that. So he is trying to get you to identify with him. He's saying, if you're like me, you were surprised. Well, this guy works for YouTube, so no, he's not surprised. He's very deliberately trying to build what we call in the biz rapport. He's trying to build rapport and to get you to kind of buy into his way of feeling and thinking about things.
I mean, I've always thought seeing the number of dislikes on a video helps us know as viewers if it's a good video or not, if it's a helpful tutorial or not, or if what a creator is saying in their video is generally agreed with or not.
Okay. Now this whole thing can't be more rehearsed. You can tell he's reading from a cue card. He's got certain talking points memorized. This is not coming off the cuff from him. That's one of the things about live streams, is that we can kind of react and come off the cuff and do things in the here and now. Whereas this guy is giving a very carefully manicured message. I mean, look at him. He fucking like brushed his teeth and combed his hair and washed his ass. even this like one button not buttoned up at the top, this is all staged. He's literally sitting on a stage. He's like in his YouTube creator studio. He's trying to be like, hey, creators. He's like, I was like you. I was like, hey, here's objection number 1. Here's objection number 2. And here's objection number 3. We're probably finding that out statistically. But yeah, I was like you. But then I thought about it. And then YouTube said this.
But unfortunately, research teams at YouTube have found there's this whole other use for disliking a video that I had never experienced as a creator, and you may not have either.
Here's the cop out. Okay. Here's where they will tell you it's about one thing, but it's not about that one thing. I do know that what he is talking about does seem to happen sometimes, where that dislike button gets weaponized. But that's not the whole reason. So you notice his face like went from friendly to like, okay, I'm getting a little bit more serious. I'm going to have to talk to you, not as your buddy, not the, hey, can I bother you for a second? I'm actually going to talk to you as a guy who has a position at YouTube. Okay. Watch how his face changes. And he's going to be like, I'm kind of like your dad right now. So you should listen to me like I'm your dad right now.
Apparently, groups of viewers are targeting a video's dislike button to drive up the count, turning it into something like a game with a visible scoreboard.
And I like how he's like trying to make it look like he's thinking of these things off the cusp. He's like turning it into something like a scoreboard, so that we can laugh evilly in our layers and ha ha ha, that poor fellow.
And it's usually just because they don't like the creator or what they stand for.
Okay. Now, if you've been following the Fandom Menace at all, you know that there are bad actors who do this sort of thing, but they also usually dox people, and they're pretty well known for doing stuff like that. But the number of bad actors who employ these things are not as significant as this guy is with his I'm friendly yet serious business casual demeanor is implying.
That's a big problem when half of YouTube's mission is to give everyone a voice.
What's the other half of YouTube's mission? Is it to stop people from getting more than 300 followers? I think that's part of it too.
So earlier in 2021, YouTube experimented with making the public dislike count private to see if it would help reduce these coordinated dislike attacks across the platform. And after analysis, they did see a reduction. So the update from YouTube is that the dislike button is staying, but the dislike counts will now be private.
And here's his like, oh, I'm sorry to let you know that this is how it's going to go. Random Brad says he's going to go get a beer for a couple minutes. Dude, you're going to need something more strong than beer to get through this. I would recommend something with at least 3 X's on the bottle. I hope that label is black. And it should be able to start your engine if you're low on gas. Because this guy's kind of like, yeah, that's kind of bad, but this is kind of how it's going to be now. This is very passive aggressive. Very passive aggressive.
You can still dislike videos, and that action will be used to tune your own recommendations, but you won't be able to see the dislike count.
Okay. So in the past, and especially in the Fandom Menace channels, ratio is one of those things that we typically cite. It's a statistic that appears on the analytics page. If you're a creator, or if you're just kind of browsing the front page of every creator's channel. Okay. So say you go to some place like DC and you can see all the commercials for DC. It'll show you how many people watch the video how many people gave it a good review, and how many people gave it a bad review. And then that way you can see whether it's relevant or not. Now, this guy maintains in his hey, come in here and talk to me in my office because you're getting a what is it? It's like when you have an occurrence at work or something, like you're getting one strike, you have like 6 strikes total before you get fired. So, hey, we're gonna have to sit you down and let you know that this is going to be an occurrence. I've already talked to your supervisor, but going forward, we're going to make sure that, you know, this doesn't happen anymore. And you're going to have 6 months with this occurrence on your permanent record. And if at the end of 6 months it's not an issue, then this will go away and you'll be back to good standing. But yeah. So get back out there and get on the phones and sell product. He's probably wearing khakis.
Only the creator can find it on the back end if they want. Now, a few common questions we saw from the initial experiment. First, without a public dislike count, how can viewers tell if a video is worth watching? Again, I kind of had this question too, but it turns out that while viewers might use the dislike count to give them a sense of a video's worth, when the teams looked at the data across millions of viewers and videos in the experiment, they didn't see a noticeable difference in viewership, regardless of whether they could see the dislike count or not.
This science right now is what is known in the biz as overcoming objections. Okay. Now, I used to work on the telephone. I used to call people and bother them about shit that they didn't want from somebody that they didn't want asking them. And usually they'd say something like, well, my spouse is at work and we only make these decisions together. And then we'd say something like, well, I can understand that. Why not have the product readily available so you can discuss it in person with your spouse? That way you'll be familiar with the bells and whistles of the widget that I'm trying to get your $19.95 out of your credit card from, so I can get my sale and go on without the day. So what this guy is saying is tantamount to an uncited source. Okay, if you go onto Wikipedia, and this is one of those things that Wikipedia is bad about because anyone can edit it, and you just change the article and you don't cite a source, and you say things like, many people generally agree that fish are stupid. You'll see that it gets flagged and it says, who's saying this thing? Why fish? Who are these many people? How often did they say it? What year was that said? Is this, so it leads to a bunch of relevancy things. And if this guy with his one button, not button shirt can convince you that many people all are okay with this, then it kind of engages your sense of wanting to belong. It's tapping into your herd mentality. Oh, all the kids have a fucking Game Boy. I want a Game Boy too. So, well, I guess if all these other people don't care if it's disliked or not, then I guess I won't care either.
In other words, it didn't really matter if
a video had a lot of dislikes or not.
a video had a lot of dislikes or not, they still watched. Next common question. If creators can...
Okay, so in his mind with that first question, okay, he has 3 common questions. The first one, he kind of asked the question like it was confusing. He's like, well, and then he kind of gave his answer. And then like at the end of the answer, you saw how he got all like happy. He's like, yeah, I solved your problem. You ready for the second problem I'm going to solve you? Yeah, check this out. I'm going to boost up my energy and we're going to get right at it. If creators can still see
the dislike count on the back end, how's that any different? They can see it if they look for it inside Studio Analytics under the engagement tab.
All right. Now this is another thing. If you're a big time channel creator, yes, you know this. But this is also one of those things kind of like you remember on Instagram whenever they hid the feed and you had to do all this bullshit to see your old posts? It's like, yeah, it's just that simple, except it's not. people aren't going to go and the people who care about the dislike ratio is not going to get any comfort or actual statistical data from looking at their own shit like this. Okay. I put out videos all the time. I know that they're not popular because I don't have a lot of subs, but I don't go and use that tool to figure out why it's not popular. It's just because I'm not part of the algorithm, and I'm not going to go and hump the algorithm in hopes that people find my page and magically think my shit is great. I know my shit's great. When people catch up to the fact that it is great, it will still be great. But what this thing is inhibiting is, I guess the best way to put it is like,
But overall,
if you are, say you're out in a city that you've never been to before, and you're like, what's good to eat around here? I don't know. I like Chinese food. What's good Chinese food? Okay. And you pull up like 20 Chinese restaurants, and they all have great reviews, but you can only see the positive ones. You can't see any negative ones. That's a problem. Because what if one is like a tiny little place with an authentic Chinese chef from fucking Szechuan? And what if one is being ran by, I don't know, college students? There's a difference. Even if they had like a big corporate logo and all that kind of shit, you might crave an authentic experience, but you're not going to get one because detractors' voices are silenced. This is voices of criticism that is being silenced by YouTube and being parroted to us by this inoffensively friendly looking fellow.
it's much less likely to cause stress and embarrassment if the count isn't visible to the public.
Stress and embarrassment. YouTube wants you to be more insecure about your own feelings than it is about the accuracy of how people are actually responding to videos in real time. Okay, now there's very good reason why they are doing this, and it has nothing to do with original creators.
And one more common question, is this because YouTube Rewind got lots of dislikes? No, although there are some teams internally who have learned the hard way what it feels like to get lots of dislikes.
Okay, now this is another rapport building activity. Okay, so like if you're going to give someone bad news, statistically they say that you should cushion that bad news with at least 2 to 3 positive things. So it's kind of like this. Who's in my chat right now? We got Curtis YZ. Hey, what's up, man? We got Supreme Heretic. What is up, Supreme Heretic? Yeah, you guys all came in. So Supreme Heretic is my boy, so I'm just gonna pick on him for pick on him's sake. But they say that you want to give 2 criticisms or 2 compliments before you give a criticism, and then follow that up with a compliment at the end, so that it's like a bitter pill and sugar. So it's kind of like if I was like, hey, Supreme Heretic, I love your channel. You're doing really good, but you smell like an asshole. But hey, your last video fucking rocked, so keep it up. And so like you're sitting there thinking like, did he just told me I smell like an asshole? But at least he likes my channel and my videos. And that's a fucking psychological tactic. This guy is going out of his way to appear friendly, so that he's giving you this criticism, and so that you come to the conclusion that he wants you to arrive at before he even made this video, which is yeah, I guess things are changing, but it's probably going to be okay because it's to protect people's feces, to protect their feces.
Now, this again is about protecting all creators and making sure they have a chance to succeed and feel safe. Now, if
I fucked that up. It's like, but you like protecting creators, right? You like original creators, don't you? You want them protected, don't you? You're not some sort of creator hating motherfucker, are you?
all creators and making sure they have a chance to succeed and feel
safe.
safe in doing so. All right, so that's the update. I hope it doesn't cause too much frustration. Honestly, I think you're going to get used to it pretty quickly. And keep in mind, other
Ooh, did you hear that? Honestly, I feel like you're going to get used to it pretty quickly. Right? That's another post-hypnotic suggestion. It's like, yeah, I mean, YouTube is all about stats. So they made this like 3-minute video. They brought out this unassuming guy. The only thing that they probably could have done that would have been more textbook than this is bring out some like mega hot bitch with like huge tits to tell us these things. Like, hey, this is Candy. I have a double E rack, and I'm here to tell you about there's no more thumbs down button number. You can thumbs down the button, but you're not going to see the number.
platforms don't even have a dislike button. So,
Did you mention other platforms, YouTube guy? I might want to go and check out those other platforms. Thanks for reminding me.
consider that. Thank you, and I hope you're well.
I hope you're well. I sure hope you're well. So that's it. The real reason, and I don't want to look at this motherfucker no more. The real reason why you're seeing this has nothing to do with original creators. It has to do more with managing the message. Now, what do I mean by managing the message? Managing the message means that official outlets and big media partners don't like it when their shit is poo-pooed by the audience. So Rotten Tomatoes famously has a critic score and an audience score. And when the audience score wasn't matching up with the demands of the corporate interests, well, they changed the way that they took audience scores. You have to be like a authorized mega fucking registered audience member with Rotten Tomatoes in order for your audience score to count. And it's just this thing. They're slightly changing the game's rules so that they come off looking better, and it's instances like the Emmys and the Oscars. Okay. Kathleen Kennedy was given a Lifetime Achievement Award that was shaped like an Oscar statue. But when it went to time to clip that thing and put it out there, like Disney is proud of Kathleen Kennedy, it got ratioed the fuck out of relevance. Okay. It would have like 1,000 likes, but like 17,000 dislikes, 93,000 dislikes. And that's how these big studios get their feedback that, oh, this is bullshit, isn't it? And that also goes into political arenas. Everything that you can see from the White House, from the CDC, from Congress, from all those things, they're handing out unpopular policy because these people do not actually care about you as an individual. They care about what your demographic can do for their bottom line. And in order to do that, they want to train you to think in certain ways. And this is why this is called the Savage Show, because when the spin is real, the truth becomes savage. Your energy, your thoughts, your productivity all go somewhere. And all that stems from your idea of who you are. And if who you are is you think that you're your job and you're the label on your clothing and the fucking logo on your shoe, then they have you. Because you're always going to be chasing the higher paid salary. You're going to be trying to get the brand new shoe. You want to have the latest, most cleverest version of the iPhone and all this fucking shit, which is a distraction from what you really should be doing, which is improving yourself. Be a better person than you were yesterday. Try to see somebody as a human being, That's what's really fucking savage. And that's what's out of alignment with what the message is. They're so concerned with trying to drive a wedge in between all of us. Oh, you're a man. Hey, women, look at what the men are doing. Oh, you're a straight man. Hey, all the alphabet people, look what the straight man is doing. Oh, you're a straight white man. Hey, all you alphabet people of different races and ethnicities, look at what the straight white man is doing. To the point where they are trying to make you feel off balance enough to have to justify your existence as a whatever the fuck you are. And all that shit's just the reason they call it identity politics is because it's the identity of the body. It has nothing to do with your intellect, nothing to do with your potential, nothing to do with whatever you think that you are supposed to be here. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whatever it is that makes you happy, they are trying to rob that of you. They're trying to get you that much off balance so that you are susceptible to their idea of what reality is. But that's the thing about what I call a free will zone. People can convince you of anything, but it takes you to believe it. So if you want to believe that you are that powerless, then these people will be happy to cater to that assumption. But I'm going to offer you something else. You can be as immortal and as savage as you want. You can be free. You can be liberated this very instant. All you have to do is declare it. Walk boldly in the streets. Look everybody in the eye. Own the fucking room that you walk into. That's my time for tonight, guys. My name is Immortal Coil. Join me one last time in the toast. Lift high whatever it is you're imbibing and repeat with me. Here is to us what is like us, not a goddamn thing. Thanks for joining me, folks. Remember to hit that like button. And until next time, stay savage.